The rain hammered Central Park like God's own judgment, turning the paths into rivers of regret. Jacob Harlan knelt beside the bench, his Armani coat soaked through, heart slamming against his ribs as he brushed wet chestnut hair from the boy's face, those high cheekbones, that defiant jaw. Alex! The name escaped his lips like a ghost. 25 years too late, and the kid's eyes snapped open, green as emeralds in hellfire, locking onto Jacob's with a mix of terror and fury that stopped the world cold. Jacob had never believed in fate, not after clawing his way from a Queens trailer park to the penthouse pinnacle of Harlan Enterprises. At 45, he was a titan of tech, a man who'd traded love for leverage, whispers of his sexuality buried under boardroom battles and bourbon nights. But that storm-swept evening in October, as thunder cracked the Manhattan sky, fate laughed in his face. He'd been cutting through the park after a late gala, black tie, hollow smiles, when he spotted the figure huddled under the dripping oaks. A runaway, he figured, one of the city's invisible casualties. Jacob's driver idled at the curb, but something pulled him closer, the slim shoulders shaking not just from cold, but from sobs that echoed his own long-silenced grief. The boy, couldn't be more than 19, curled tighter as Jacob touched his shoulder. "Hey, kid. You can't stay out here. You'll freeze." No response, just a flinch like a wounded animal. Jacob shrugged off his coat, draping it over the slim frame, the wool heavy with the scent of sandalwood cologne and cashmere. Up close, the resemblance hit like a freight train, the same arched brows, the faint scar above the left eye from a childhood bike crash. Alex's face, but softer, unscarred by time's cruelty. Jacob's breath caught. Impossible. He'd loved Alex once, fiercely, in the stolen summers of their youth. Two boys from nothing, dreaming big in the shadow of the skyline. Alex, with his poet's soul and artist's hands, had been Jacob's anchor, kisses in alleyways, promises etched in graffiti. But ambition is a jealous god. When Stanford came calling, Jacob chose the future over the now, leaving Alex with a tear-streaked goodbye and a heart full of holes. Letters unanswered, calls dodged. By the time Jacob heard Alex had OD'd in a dingy Brooklyn walk-up, pills scattered like confetti at a funeral, it was too late. Jacob buried the guilt under skyscrapers and stock options, never looking back. Until now. The kid stirred, mumbling something incoherent, his lips blue-tinged. Jacob scooped him up, lighter than expected, bones like bird wings under soaked denim, and carried him to the Bentley. "Ethan, get us home." And called Dr. Weiss. The driver nodded. No questions, Jacob paid for silence. As the car sliced through the downpour, the boy slumped against Jacob's chest, fever-hot skin seeping through his shirt. Jacob's hand hovered, then settled on the damp curls. "You're safe now," he whispered. To the boy or the ghost, he couldn't say. The penthouse on Fifth Avenue was a fortress of glass and steel, 37 stories above the chaos Jacob had conquered. Marble floors gleamed under recessed lights as he laid the kid on the guest room's king bed, peeling off the sodden clothes with clinical care faded jeans, a threadbare hoodie emblazoned with some indie band's logo. Bruises bloomed on pale ribs, track marks faint on one arm. Jacob's stomach twisted. Not his story, he told himself, but the lie tasted like ash. Dr. Weiss arrived in 20 minutes, a discreet shadow in scrubs. Hypothermia, mild dehydration. For fluids, rest. "He'll be fine." As she worked, Jacob paced the living room, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering sprawl of New York. Who was this kid? A street hustler? Maybe, trading flesh for fixes in the village bars Jacob avoided these days. Or just another queer runaway, cast out by Bible-thumping folks in the heartland. Jacob knew the type. He'd been one, briefly, before reinvention. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, when the boy woke. Jacob sat in the armchair, nursing black coffee, watching those green eyes flutter open. Confusion first, then wariness. Where? The voice was rough, edged with a southern lilt that tugged at Jacob's core. My place. Central Park. You were out cold. Jacob set the mug down, leaning forward. What's your name? Kid. A beat. The boy pushed up on elbows, sheets pooling at his waist, revealing the lean torso of someone who'd skipped too many meals. Benjamin. Ben. He scanned the room, silk duvet, abstract art on the walls like it was a cage. Look, man, I don't do whatever this is. Just point me to the door. Jacob chuckled, low and warm despite the chill in his veins. After you nearly drowned in a puddle? Eat first. Then we talk. He buzzed the kitchen. Breakfast arrived on a silver tray, eggs Benedict, fresh OJ, the works. Ben eyed it like a trap, but hunger won. He devoured it cross-legged on the bed, sauce dripping on his chin, a feral grace that made Jacob's throat tighten. Over the meal, words trickled out. Ben was 19, from Atlanta originally. Kicked out at 16 when his mom found his Grindr chats. Bounced between shelters, odd jobs, the occasional sugar daddy who turned sour. I'm gay as fuck, he said bluntly, wiping his mouth. If that's a problem, say it now. Defiance masked the fear, and Jacob saw Alex in it, the same spark that had ignited their first kiss under a fire escape. No problem, Jacob replied, voice steady. I'm gay too. Out since '08, when it was still a boardroom landmine. He didn't mention the settlements, the NDAs that kept his hookups hushed. Ben's shoulders eased a fraction. By noon, Ben was showered, Jacob's guest robe swallowing his frame, and they migrated to the terrace. The city hummed below, concrete jungle Jacob ruled. Ben leaned on the railing, wind tousling his hair. Why'd you bring me here? You don't know me. Jacob lit a cigarette, bad habit, post-gala stress, and exhaled smoke into the breeze. Saw myself in you. Young, lost, thinking the world's end is just the beginning. Lies and truths tangled. He wanted to ask about family, about that scar, but held back. Instead, they talked music. Ben loved indie folk. Jacob pretended to. Art. Ben sketched on napkins. Lines fluid and raw. Dreams. Ben wanted to paint murals on abandoned warehouses. Jacob had built an empire on code. That night, Ben crashed hard, meds kicking in. Jacob retreated to his office, the hum of servers a lullaby. But sleep evaded him. He pulled up old photos on his encrypted drive. Alex at 20, laughing on Coney Island Beach, arms slung around Jacob's neck. The resemblance was uncanny. Coincidence? Or something more? The next morning, Ben was sketching at the kitchen island, charcoals Jacob had dug from a drawer. This place is insane, he said, grinning for the first time, crooked, boyish, heart-stopping. You live like a king. Kings get lonely, Jacob quipped, pouring coffee. Their eyes met, a current humming. Ben blushed, ducking his head. Jacob felt it too. The pull, dangerous and sweet. He was twice the kid's age, a lifetime of baggage. But in Ben's gaze, he saw possibility, a second chance wrapped in green eyes. Days blurred into a rhythm. Ben stayed, claiming the guest room but wandering the penthouse like he belonged. Jacob cleared his schedule, meetings delegated, calls ignored, mesmerized by the stray who'd cracked his armored world. They cooked together, Ben's gumbo a spicy revelation from his Georgia roots, Jacob's steak au poivre a fancy fail. Laughter echoed off the walls, a sound Jacob hadn't heard since. Well, since Alex. One evening, after a bottle of Napa Cab split on the couch, Ben's head lolled on Jacob's shoulder during some Netflix drivel. The weight was right, the scent of soap and youth intoxicating. Jacob's hand ghosted over Ben's thigh, a question unspoken. Ben stirred, not pulling away, his breath warm on Jacob's neck. "Thanks for this," he murmured. "For seeing me." Jacob's heart fractured. "Always," he said, and meant it for the boy, for the man he'd lost. But secrets fester. On the fifth night, while Ben slept, Jacob rifled through the backpack left by the door. Soggy wallet, a dog-eared journal, and at the bottom, a crumpled photo. Yellowed edges, two men beaming, one young Jacob, arm around Alex, both shirtless in summer heat. On the back, in Alex's looping script, "For our boy, Ben. Love you both. Always." The world tilted. Jacob sank to the floor, photo trembling in his grip. "Ben, there Ben?" Alex had never said. The letters, the silence. Jacob's betrayal had birthed a son he never knew, raised in shadows by a grieving father who couldn't stay clean. And now, here he was, falling for his own flesh and blood? No. God, no. The rain outside mocked him, a dirge for the life he'd shattered. Jacob didn't sleep. Dawn found him on the terrace, photo clutched like a talisman, the city awakening indifferent to his unraveling. Ben's laughter from yesterday echoed in his skull. Innocent, trusting, now poisoned by revelation. A son. How? Alex had written, begged for money, for acknowledgement, but Jacob, building his first startup, had deleted the emails unread. "Focus on the future," his mentor had said. The future was this, a ghost child, homeless and hooked, staring down the barrel of his father's neglect. He heard Ben stir inside, bare feet padding on hardwood. Jacob shoved the photo into his pocket, schooling his face to calm. Ben appeared in boxers and an oversized tee. Jacob's, hair tousled, eyes sleepy soft. "Morning, handsome." "Coffee?" Jacob managed a nod, throat dry as he brewed 2 mugs. They sat at the island, Ben chattering about a mural idea inspired by the skyline. "Want to come downtown today? Scout spots." His foot nudged Jacob's under the counter. Playful, electric. Jacob's skin burned where they touched, guilt and desire warring like acid in his veins. "Rain check," Jacob rasped. "Meeting in the valley. But take the card, buy paints, whatever." He slid a black Amex across the marble. Ben's eyes widened. "Dude, this is..." "I can't." But he pocketed it, gratitude flickering to something deeper, vulnerable. "You're too good to me, if you only knew." Jacob forced a smile. "Get used to it." After Ben showered and left, kissing Jacob's cheek in a rush of stubble and warmth, Jacob called his PI, a ghost from his cutthroat days. Dig up everything on a Benjamin. Last name unknown. Born around 2006. Father Alexander Reed. The report landed by lunch. Benjamin Alexander Reed. 19. No fixed address. Mother unknown. Alex's journals hinted at a one-night stand during a bender. Post Jacob. Raised in Atlanta by Alex after a move south. Scraping by on odd jobs and welfare. Alex's death at 39. Suicide. Pills and vodka. Note blaming the one who got away. Ben. Orphaned. Bounced through foster limbo before fleeing north at 17. Chasing ghosts of a father who'd spun tales of a big city love that broke him. Jacob read it in his office. Blinds drawn. Tears carving tracks down his face. The betrayal was his abandoning Alex. Ignoring the pleas. Letting grief swallow a man whole. And now Ben. Paying the price. Sleeping on benches because his dad had no net to catch him. But the pull. God. The way Ben looked at him. Not as a savior but a spark. It wasn't paternal. It was fire. Forbidden and fierce. Incest? No. Biology said half stranger at best. But the heart didn't care for fine print. He drove to Brooklyn that afternoon. The Bentley weaving through traffic like a shark. Alex's old building, a sagging brownstone in Bed-Stuy, still stood, graffiti-tagged, windows boarded. Jacob bribed the super for access, climbed creaking stairs to apartment 3B. Dust motes danced in slanted light as he pushed the door. The air smelled of mildew and memory. Faded couch, sketches pinned to walls, Alex's work, cityscapes alive with color. In the bedroom, a shoebox under the bed, letters, yellowed, addressed to Jacob. He didn't open them. Couldn't. Back in Manhattan, Ben waited with takeout tie, spread on the coffee table like a picnic. Missed you, he said, pulling Jacob down beside him. Their knees brushed, and Ben didn't move away. The TV flickered some rom-com, but eyes stayed on each other. Tell me about you. The real shit, not the Forbes version. Jacob hesitated, then poured. The trailer park kid, the scholarship grind, the first code that sold for millions. Omitted the ache of leaving Alex, the parade of nameless lovers. Ben listened, chin on knees, then shared his own scars. First kiss stolen behind a gym. Mom screams when she found the phone. Dad tried. He was broken. You know? Talked about you. Wait. No. About his Jacob. Some Wall Street prick who ditched him. Jacob's pulse thundered. What did he say? Ben shrugged, pain shadowing his face. That love's a thief. Steals your soul and leaves IOUs. He reached for Jacob's hand, lacing fingers. But you're different. Real. The kiss happened slow, inevitable. Ben leaned in first, tentative, lips brushing Jacob's like a dare. Jacob froze, then surged, hands cupping Ben's face, tasting salt and spice, the world narrowing to this. Ben melted into it, a soft moan vibrating between them, bodies aligning on the couch. Clothes shed in a frenzy, skin on skin, Jacob's experience guiding Ben's eager exploration. It was tender, then urgent, Jacob's mouth trailing fire down Ben's neck, Ben's nails digging crescents into Jacob's back. They moved to the bedroom, sheets tangling as they chased release, whispers of more and yes, the only gospel. After, tangled and spent, Ben traced Jacob's chest hair. That okay? I mean, us. Jacob swallowed the lie. More than. But Dawn brought the photo. slipped under Ben's pillow like a curse. Ben found it while Jacob showered, the script searing his eyes. He burst into the bathroom, photo shaking. "What the fuck is this?" Jacob, water streaming, turned pale. "Ben, listen. You're him? The Jacob who killed my dad." Ben's voice cracked, green eyes storming. "You left him. He waited, wrote letters. And you ghosted. He died because of you." The words landed like shrapnel. Jacob stepped out, dripping, reaching. "I didn't know about you." "If I'd..." "Bullshit." Ben hurled the photo, glass shattering on tile. "You knew enough to ignore him. And now, this." He gestured wildly between them, disgust and desire at war. "I'm just..." "What? Your redemption fuck?" Alex's ghost in skinny jeans. Jacob grabbed his wrist, desperate. "No. It's real. It's more than that." Ben wrenched free, tears carving paths. "You're my father's mistake. Not mine." He stormed out, grabbing his backpack, the door slamming like a guillotine. Jacob sank to the floor, water pooling cold around him. The penthouse echoed empty, the city outside a mocking symphony. He'd found his son, his love, and lost them both in one breath. But Ben wasn't gone, not yet. Jacob dressed, resolve hardening. He'd fight for this, for the family fate had hidden. First stop, the lawyer, to trace Alex's estate, any will that might name him. Then, the streets. Ben was a survivor, but survivors broke. Jacob wouldn't let him shatter alone. He hit the pavement at dusk. Bars from the village to Chelsea buzzing with after-work crowds. Leather daddies, twinks in glitter. Jacob scanned faces, flashing Ben's photo on his phone. Seen him? 19. Green eyes. Southern drawl. Rejections piled. But in a dive off Christopher Street, a bartender nodded. Kid like that? Came through last week. Rough trade. Try the pier. The Hudson waterfront reeked of salt and despair, shadows lengthening under sodium lights. Jacob's loafers crunched gravel as he approached a cluster of figures. Rent boys smoking. Eyes hollow. One, a lanky kid with blue hair, pointed east. Bench by the water. But mister, he's not for sale tonight. Jacob found him there, silhouette against the dark river, knees drawn up, staring at ripples like answers. Ben. Ben startled, then deflated. Go away, Jacob. Or Dad. Whatever the fuck you are. Jacob sat, uninvited, coat offered against the chill. I'm the asshole who should have been there. For Alex. For you. Silence stretched, broken only by waves lapping pilings. He named you after Ben Harper, right? That folk song about grace. Ben snorted, bitter. Yeah. Opportunities come but they don't stay. Dad's idea of hope. He took the coat, shoulders hunching. Why'd you leave him? Truth time. Jacob lit a cigarette, sharing one. Fear. Ambition. Thought love was a luxury I couldn't afford. He exhaled smoke, story spilling, nights coding till dawn. The thrill of the deal that made him millions. Alex was my heart. I ripped it out to chase the head. Ben smoked in drags, eyes distant. He never stopped loving you. Drank to forget, painted to remember. Died with your name on his lips. They said. Guilt clawed Jacob's gut. I'm sorry. For all of it. He risked a hand on Ben's knee. Platonic now, anchoring. Let me make it right. Not as whatever. As me. For you. Ben's gaze softened. Conflict raging. I don't know if I can. That kiss felt like home. But now, it's fucked. They sat till midnight, words weaving fragile bridges. Ben agreed to come back. Not for Jacob, but for the bed, the safety. No more kisses, boundaries drawn in the sand. But in the car, Ben's head on Jacob's shoulder, the line blurred again. Desire simmered, betrayal's shadow long. Back home, Ben crashed in the guest room. Jacob watched from the door, photo in hand. Redemption or damnation, the storm outside rumbled, promising more chaos. Weeks bled into a tense truce, the penthouse a pressure cooker of unspoken wants. Ben threw himself into art, Jacob's credit card funding canvases, charcoals, a studio corner in the spare room where he painted feverishly, stormy skies over Brooklyn bridges, lovers entwined in neon glows, always with a undercurrent of fracture, like cracked glass. Jacob watched from afar, commissioning pieces for his lobby, funneling cash to Atlanta contacts for Ben's old school records, proof of potential, a scholarship seed. You're going places, kid, he'd say, clapping Ben's shoulder, careful not to linger. But careful was a lie they both lived. Dinners turned intimate. Candlelight on linen, Ben's foot hooking Jacob's under the table, accidental on purpose. Movie nights devolved into thigh grazes, breaths sinking in the dark. Ben's laugh filled the space, a balm on Jacob's wounds. But nights brought dreams. Alex accusing, Ben recoiling, and mornings with Ben's bed empty, sheets scented with his skin. Jacob dove into work. Harlan Enterprises' latest AI pivot demanding blood. Boardrooms buzzed with suits and spreadsheets, but his mind wandered to green eyes, to the journal Ben had left out, entries raw as open veins. He looks at me like Dad did the skyline, hungry, lost. What if I break too? Jacob closed it, heart pounding. This wasn't lust. It was lifeline. Ben saw him, scars and all, not the billionaire mask. The conflict ignited on a crisp November Friday. Jacob's assistant buzzed, Mr. Harlan, your sister's on line 1. Urgent. Lydia, the only family tie that stuck. Half-sister from his mom's second marriage, a no-nonsense ER doc in Philly. They spoke monthly, surface pleasantries. But her tone was steel. Jacob, what the hell? Some PI sniffing around old read files? You dragging up ghosts again? He froze in his office, skyline mocking through glass. Lydia. Complicated. Complicated? Alex was your what? College fuck? Heard the stories. Now you're playing daddy to his spawn? Ben's a mess. Jake. Foster reports say he's got priors, shoplifting, solicitation. You gonna fix that with your wallet? Rage flared. He's not a project. He's mine. The word died unspoken. Family. She laughed. Sharp. Family? You ghosted Alex when he needed you. Don't repeat history. The call ended, but the echo lingered. Jacob stormed home early, finding Ben on the terrace, sketching the sunset, hues of fire bleeding into dusk. We need to talk. Ben set the pad down, wary. About everything. Jacob paced, words tumbling, the PI, Lydia's call, the will he'd unearthed, Alex leaving Ben a pittance, with a codicil naming Jacob as the father figure he deserved, if he ever shows. Ben's face drained of color. You think you can buy absolution? Sign some papers. Play house. Ben stood, voice rising. I'm not your do-over. It's not. Jacob grabbed his arms, heat surging. It's us. This. He pulled Ben close, lips crashing in a kiss born of desperation. Ben resisted a heartbeat, then yielded, hands fisting Jacob's shirt, tongues warring with the fury of pent-up storm. They stumbled inside, clothes ripping in the hallway, Ben's tee over his head, Jacob's belt clattering on marble. Against the wall, Ben's legs wrapped Jacob's waist, gasps echoing as they claimed what biology denied. It was cathartic, brutal. Ben biting Jacob's shoulder to muffle cries, Jacob whispering sorry, like a prayer into sweat-damp hair. They collapsed to the rug, bodies slick, hearts hammering in sync. Ben curled against him, tears wetting Jacob's chest. I hate you, he murmured. And I need you. Jacob held tighter. Same, but betrayal brewed beyond their bubble. Jacob's world intruded Monday. A tabloid leak, anonymous source spilling, Billionaire Harlan's boy toy, from streets to sheets. Photos grainy, Ben on the terrace, Jacob's hand on his hip. The board panicked. Investors whispered, optics. Jacob so. Victor Kane, a shark in pinstripes, cornered him post-meeting. This queer sob story is tanking stock. Ditch the kid. Or we do. Jacob's fist clenched. Touch him. You lose everything. Victor smirked. Loyalty's cute. But boards don't fuck sentiment. That night, Ben sensed the shift. Jacob's clipped texts. The bourbon bottle half empty. What's wrong? Work. But Ben pressed, and truth spilled. The leak. The pressure. Ben paled. They know about us? Because of me? No. Jacob cupped his face. Because of them. Greedy fucks. Ben pulled away. I stormy. I'm poison. Always have been. Dad said I ruined him. Too much like you. Too needy. He grabbed his jacket. I'll go. Fix your empire. Don't. Jacob blocked the door. Panic rising. You're not poison. You're. The slap echoed. Ben's palm stung red on Jacob's cheek. Your son? Your lover? Pick one. Jacob. Can't be both. He fled then, elevator dinging like a death knell. Jacob pursued, bursting into the lobby, doorman shrugging, took the subway. Sir. Hours blurred. Calls to Ben's phone. Straight to voicemail. Bars scoured. Piers empty. Dawn found Jacob on that Central Park bench. Rain starting again. Photo sodden in his pocket. Ben resurfaced Tuesday. Not at the penthouse but Harlan's lobby. Disheveled. Eyes bloodshot. A duffel at his feet. Security buzzed Jacob down. I crashed at a friend's. Actually, the word knifed. Needed space. Jacob nodded. Throat tight. Stay. Please. Ben's gaze hardened. On your terms? Or mine? The demand hung. Jacob swallowed pride. Yours. They rebuilt slow. Therapy sessions Jacob booked, separate at first, then joint with a queer-affirming shrink in Chelsea. Ben painted his pain out, canvases crowding the studio. Fractured faces, lovers in rain. Jacob hung them, unframed, raw. Intimacy returned tentative. Hands held during walks in the park. Kisses chased till trust rebuilt. But Victor's shadow loomed. Whispers in earnings calls. Stock dipping 2 points. Climax cracked open at the holiday gala. Harlan's annual black tie bash at the Met. Jacob dreaded it, suits schmoozing, eyes judging. Ben refused the invite. Not your arm candy, but Jacob begged, be my date. Show them we're real. Ben relented, in a tailored velvet jacket that hugged his frame, hair styled just so. Heads turned as they entered, arm in arm, Ben's chin high, Jacob's hand possessive on his back. Whispers rippled, that's the kid. Harlan's out now? Champagne flowed, toasts clinked, but Victor circled, vodka in hand. Midway, by the Egyptian wing, Victor struck. Touching, Jake. Slummin with strays. He leered at Ben. Heard you're quite the artist. Draw me like one of your French girls. Ben stiffened, but Jacob stepped forward. Back off, Vic. Victor laughed, sloshing his drink. Or what? Board votes tomorrow. Your boy's the vote killer. He turned to Ben, voice oily. Run along, kid. Daddy's playing grown up. Ben's fist flew before Jacob could stop it, cracking Victor's nose, blood spraying marble. Gasps echoed. Security swarmed. Chaos. Victor roaring, Jacob shielding Ben, gala dissolving into scandal. Phones flashed. Headlines birthed in real time. Harlan heirloom. Billionaire's lover punches exec. In the aftermath. Penthouse siege. Paparazzi at the gates. Board emails demanding resignation. Victor sued for assault, painting Ben as a gold-digging hustler. Jacob lawyered up, countersuing defamation, but the damage festered. Ben paced, guilt-carving lines. I fucked you. Like Dad said, ruin everything. No. Jacob pulled him close, foreheads touching. You fought for us. That's strength. But the betrayal cut deeper. Victor's leak? Traced to Lydia's phone, jealousy, old grudges from Jacob's selfish youth. She confessed tearfully over video. Thought I was saving you. From repeating Alex. Jacob cut ties. Clean sever. Blood's not family. Ben, overhearing, softened. Then what's us? In the quiet after, they made love deliberate, slow explorations. I love you,'s gasped like sacraments. For the first time, felt whole, not haunted. Yet the board loomed, a guillotine. Jacob prepared his speech. Step down, hand reins to a successor, focus on personal ventures. Ben begged him to fight. Don't quit for me. It's not quitting. It's choosing. Election night, conference room sterile as a morgue. Votes tallied, 7-5 against. Victor grinned through bruises. Jacob stood, calm. Effective immediately, I'm out. And Victor, you're fired. For the leak, the harassment. Security's waiting, stunned silence. Jacob walked. Ben waiting in the hall, hug fierce. Tears shared. Freedom tasted like rain-washed air. Winter gripped New York like a grudge. Snow blanketing Central Park in deceptive peace. Jacob and Ben holed up. The penthouse a cocoon against the frenzy. Headlines faded to tabloid filler. Victor's suit settled out of court with a gag order and a fat check. Jacob sold Harlan shares, cashing out billions. The empire crumbling to fund a new path. A foundation for queer youth. Shelters with art studios. Scholarships named for Alex. Read grants, Ben suggested, voice thick. For the ones like me. Ben thrived in it, volunteering, teaching mural classes to runaways. His own exhibit booked at a Soho gallery. Shadows of the sun, portraits of fractured love. The centerpiece a diptych of stormy benches and skyline embraces. Critics raved. Raw, redemptive, a queer odyssey in oils. Opening night, Ben in slim black, Jacob at his side. The room buzzed with collectors and curiosity. A sale to MoMA sealed it. Ben's eyes shone, whispering, "We did this." But peace was fragile glass. Betrayal's echo lingered in Ben's nightmares, waking sweat slick, shoving Jacob away. What if it's all a lie? You pity fucking the orphan. Therapy unpacked it. Attachment wounds. Alex's ghost demanding space. Jacob listened, held space, but his own cracks widened. Insomnia, bourbon creeping back. At 45, was he too old for this wild heart? Ben, 20 now in January snow, bloomed vibrant, friends orbiting, a drag queen mentor, a poet barista. Jacob felt the age gap yawn, a chasm of lived losses. Spring thawed the ice, but unearthed old roots. A letter arrived, forwarded from Atlanta. Ben's aunt, Alex's sister, postmarked with regret. Heard about the exhibit. Alex would have been proud. But Jacob Harlan, the devil who broke him? Stay away from my nephew. Enclosed, Alex's final journal, pages brittle. Ben read it alone first, then shared over dawn coffee, voice steady but eyes red. Dad wrote about you till the end. Jacob's my North Star, even if he don't shine back. Blamed himself. Not you. Ben closed the book. Forgives you. In a way. Jacob wept then. Ugly sobs Ben wiped away. I don't deserve it. You do now. Their kiss sealed it. Forgiveness a bridge over the abyss. Yet conflict crested in May. Gala season's revenge. Victor, blackballed but bitter, leaked Dr. Docs to Gawker. Harlan's dirty secret. Incestuous affair with dead lover's son? Grainy emails twisted. Timelines fudged. The half-brother lie inflated to full horror. Internet erupted, trolls spewing slurs. Donors fleeing the foundation. Ben's gallery vandalized with spray paint hate. PR vert. Ben broke that night, barricading in the studio, canvases slashed. Jacob pounded the door. Ben, it's lies. Victor's payback. Silence. Then a whisper. What if it's not? We kissed before I knew. What does that make us? Jacob jimmied the lock, finding Ben curled amid ruins. Razor in hand, not cutting, but carving initials into his thigh. Jr. Monsters, Ben choked. Like father, like son. Jacob knelt, bandaging gentle. No. Survivors. He confessed the worst. The first kiss, knowing the photo's truth, chasing it anyway. I fell because you're you. Not him. Ben recoiled. Then why the guilt? Why the foundation? Like paying off a debt. Truth burned. Partly. But mostly love. For Alex's memory. For our future. Ben shoved him, storming out, subway to the park. That bench their origin. Jacob followed, finding him under oaks. Snowmelt puddles reflecting stars. Go, Ben said. I need to hate you clean. Jacob sat anyway. Coat shared. Hours passed. Words exhausted. Dawn broke. Ben leaning in. I can't. Hate's too heavy. They walked home hand in hand. The city stirring. Victor faced charges, defamation, stalking, jailed by summer, his empire dust. The foundation rebounded, bolstered by celebs outing support. Elton John donated. A queer senator spoke. Ben's art turned triumphant. Murals on foundation walls. Lovers unbroken. Summer sizzled. their love deepening in stolen freedoms. Road trip to Provincetown, beaches thrumming with pride flags, Ben's body sun-kissed, Jacob's hands mapping new territories. Cape Cod nights, bonfires and beers, Ben strumming guitar, Ben Harper covers, Alex's favorites. This one's for us, Ben sang, voice cracking sweet, Jacob's heart full. But the climax brewed internal. Ben's acceptance to RISD, full ride via Reed Grant. I go. You stay, Jacob's world tilted. We go. Sell the penthouse. Start fresh. Ben hesitated. Rhode Island? Your billions in bunk beds. For you? Anywhere. But doubt flickered. Jacob's roots in Manhattan. The pull of power. Fall leaves turned. And the fracture hit. Ben, packing canvases, found the old letters in Jacob's safe. Alex's pleas, unread. You kept them? After all this time, Jacob, caught. Reminder of what I lost. Or trophy, Ben's voice shattered. You hoard pain like stock. I'm not your penance. Fight exploded. Accusations flying, Jacob controlling. Ben fleeing commitment. You're scared, Jacob yelled. Of real. Not the fantasy. Ben packed a bag. Maybe. But you're chained to ghosts. Door slammed. Ben to a friend's in Brooklyn. Jacob unraveled. Foundation faltered without Ben's fire. Nights alone in echoing halls. He hit bottom in a village bar. Propositioned by a twink half Ben's age. Rejected. Puking in the alley. What now? He texted Lydia. Olive branch extended. She came, not forgiving, but hearing. Let him go, Jake. Love's not possession. Reaching out, Jacob drove to RISD orientation. Ben, wide-eyed in the quad, surrounded by fresh faces. Didn't think you'd come. Couldn't not. Jacob handed keys. A seaside cottage in Newport, Foundation satellite office attached. Your space. Or maybe. Ben's tears fell. I thought you'd fight dirty. Buy me back. Learned better. Jacob pulled him close. Public and proud. Fight with you. Not for. They kissed under autumn oaks. Students whistling. Not fixed, but forward. Winter returned softer. The cottage a weathered haven against Narragansett Bay, white-clabbered. Widow's Walk where Ben painted gulls wheeling over foam-capped waves. Jacob commuted to Providence. Foundation HQ now a repurposed mill buzzing with queer creators. Writers' workshops. Drag labs. Ben's murals climbing brick walls like vines reclaiming ruin. At 46, Jacob traded boardrooms for flannel shirts. Salt in his hair. Hands calloused from hauling lumber for expansions. Age lines deepened, but Ben's gaze smoothed them. Green eyes promising tomorrows. Their love matured. Less wildfire. More hearth. Lazy Sundays in bed. Ben's head on Jacob's chest. Fingers tracing silver chest hair. Tell me a secret, Ben would murmur. And Jacob spilled. Fears of fading relevance. Dreams of adopting. Building a chosen family. Ben shared too. Imposter pangs at school. Nights missing Atlanta's humid nights. But here, with you, it's home. Conflict simmered subtle. Ben's rising star. Internship at a Boston gallery. Whispers of NYC shows. Pulled him cityward. While Jacob rooted deeper in Rhode Island soil. Foundation thriving. A second sight breaking ground in Alex's name. Don't clip my wings, Ben joked, but edged with truth. Jacob nodded, but anxiety gnawed. History's echo. Abandonment scar. Betrayal struck sideways. Spring equinox sharp. Ben's phone buzzed during dinner. Oyster stew steaming. Bayview golden. Unknown number. Tell your sugar daddy hi. V. Victor. Out on good behavior. Stalking from afar letters to the foundation. Anonymous tips to Ben's profs. Harlan's puppet. Not prodigy. Ben deleted. But poison seeped. A slash tire on Ben's Vespa. Gallery email withdrawing the internship. Coincidence. Ben snarled, hurling his bowl. Or your past catching us? Jacob's fault line cracked. I'll handle Victor. No. You attract this shit. Your baggage. Not mine. Ben stormed the beach. Barefoot in chill dusk. Waves crashing judgment. Jacob followed. Sand gritty under loafers, wrong shoes for this life. Ben. Wait. Ben whirled. Tears saltier than sea. I'm 20. Jacob. World's opening. And you're the anchor, guilt. Ghost. Goddamn Victor. He confessed the unconfessed. Therapy breakthrough. Alex's journal revealing a half-truth. Jacob had known of the pregnancy. Once, a drunken voicemail deleted in panic. You chose silence. Again, Jacob reeled. Memory surfacing. Alex's slur. It's yours. Jake ours. Erased. Like so much. I was scared. 22. No money. Queer in the 90s. Excuses. Ben's voice broke. Dad died waiting for you. I'm not waiting to be next. The chasm yawned. Ben left for Boston that night, friend's couch. Internship salvaged by sheer grit. Weeks of texts. Miss you. Fight? Jacob. Always. But distance bred doubt. Ben's posts. Gallery nights. Cute baristas stung like slivers. Climax crested midsummer. Foundation gala on the pier. Lanterns bobbing. Queer icons toasting progress. Jacob spoke. Voice steady. This is for the Alex Reeds we lost. The Ben Harlans we save. Crowd roared. But empty chair beside him ached. Post-speech. Victor appeared. Uninvited. Gaunt from prison pallor. Flanked by a sleazy lawyer. Nice eulogy. Too bad it's fiction. I got proof paternity test. Forged but convincing. Expose you. Or pay. Jacob's blood iced. Blackmail? After everything. Victor sneered. You ruined me. Fair's fair. Security dragged him. But damage done, whispers rippling. Phones recording. Jacob fled to the cottage. Bourbon burning. Calling Ben voicemail. Come home. Please. Ben arrived at midnight. Wind whipped. Ice fierce. Heard. You okay? Jacob collapsed into him. Truth torrent. The voicemail. Victor's threat. I can't lose you. Not to this. Ben held him. Then pulled back. Then let go. Of the guilt. Of Harlan the hero. Be Jacob, the man I love. Flaws and all. They made love on the widow's walk. Stars witnesses. Bodies urgent with reclaimed trust. Ben atop. Guiding. Mine gasped into Jacob's mouth. Dawn found them tangled. Decisions dawning. Jacob sued Victor into oblivion, RICO charges. Asset freeze ending the snake for good. Ben deferred internship a semester. Diving into foundation murals. Bridges. Lovers linking fractured shores. But the real bridge? Jacob's proposal. Not ring but vow. Marry me? Not legal yet. But us forever. Ben laughed. Tears. Queer wedding on the beach? Hell yes. Summer waned. Wedding simple. Bare feet in sand. Ben in linen white. Jacob in rolled sleeves. Guests. Foundation kids. Lydia reconciled with a hug. A rabbi and drag queen co-officiating. Vows raw. Jacob. I was lost till you found me on that bench. Promise to walk beside, not ahead. Then, you saw me broken, real and stayed. I see you too. All of you. Rings exchanged, silver waves etched, sealed with salt kiss. Reception bonfire. Ben strumming harper, crowd dancing wild. Later, alone, they walked the pier, hands linked. Happy? Jacob asked. Ben grinned, crooked eternal. Human. That's enough. Years folded. Ben's MFA, solo show in Chelsea sold out, Shadows series iconic. Jacob's Foundation National, chapters from Seattle to Savannah. They adopted twin boys from a Bronx shelter, Jamal and Luca, dark curls and dimples, calling Jacob Papa and Ben Dad. Family dinners chaotic, love loud, but humanistic truth. Not fairy tale, but earned grace. Alex's photo framed in the hall, not ghost but guide. Betrayals scarred, but healed into stories told to the boys, lessons in forgiveness. On rainy nights, they'd revisit the park via memory, bench myth now. Fate's a bitch, Ben say, curled close. But we won, Jacob, always. In the end, love wasn't perfection, but persistence. Two men, mended, mapping stars from a bench in the storm.